We're at the Hotel Granvia in central Kyoto, about to enjoy a kaiseki Epicurean feast. And this is a degustation menu. What that means is a series of small dishes that are exquisitely prepared. Now, the philosophy behind this cuisine is that it uses fresh ingredients that are highly seasonal and sourced locally. Now, normally, there'd be 8 to 11 dishes prepared. We've got 8 today, and there's 2 of them missing. Now, Chef Murakami has invited us out to the kitchen to see how these are prepared. And I have to say, this level of cuisine is at the top of the tree in Japan. Chef Murakami and his assistant are first conjuring up fish noodles with abalone and bean curd. And they start by making the noodles from scratch, grinding shrimp and fish, and then beating the 2 pastes together. The mixture is placed in a cylinder, it's squeezed and then extruded through 2 holes at the end into boiling fish stock. As the noodles set in the stock, the shrimp in the mixture turns pink. Then it's time to place them in iced water. To create the soup that the noodles will sit in, Chef simply adds salt to the boiling fish stock. A quick taste indicates soy sauce will round out the soup nicely. Then it's time for the final presentation. Bean curd or tofu, then abalone are placed in a bowl. The fish noodles are drained and are perched on top and then garnished with a Chinese spinach and a local ingredient called junsai. The soup is then carefully ladled over the top, a decorative lid placed on top before the final flourish. Water is sprinkled on the lid to symbolise the freshness, like the unspoiled morning dew, perfection and no fingerprints. For the next dish, sushi chef Takala places a slice of sea bream on a portion of rice and squeezes them in cloth to maintain contact between the 2 ingredients. They're then carefully wrapped in bamboo leaf to create an ornamental yet healthy morsel. For a keen foodie like me, just watching these missing dishes from the menu taking shape is such a golden opportunity, because kaiseki specialists like Chef Murakami don't just cook ingredients, they create art with food.
Sake is Japan's national drink. It's a rice wine with an alcohol content a little bit higher than the traditional wines we'd find back home, so about 16%. It's served in these small cups, hot or cold, so if you're having a hot meal, then you'd have a hot sake. Now, the idea is to sip it throughout your meal with all dishes except for rice, because Japanese cuisine etiquette states that you should never have 2 foods of the same type at the same time, as they clash rather than complement.
Tonight I'm staying at a ryokan, traditional Japanese accommodation. Now, I've heard these places are fantastic, and now I'm about to find out. After arriving in the mid-afternoon, guests usually stay in ryokan accommodation for 1 night. To really get into the experience immediately, it's straight into the customary yukata or robe, followed by traditional Japanese tea service. This really is something special. The number 1 reason for staying at a ryokan is to relax. And I've got everything I need. I've got my Japanese tea, I'm in my robe, nice big cushion, adjustable armrest, and the most beautiful, peaceful room, and to top it all off, an incredible view. And after a big night on the sake at the karaoke bar, this is exactly what I need. The next item on the agenda is an afternoon bath. Bathing is a big part of ryokan tradition and the experience you're going to have when you're here. Now, this isn't my own private bathroom, it's a communal bathroom for men. Ladies, you get your own area. Now, the way it works is you come in, rinse off over there, have a bath, then you go over there, get soaked up, have another rinse, and then have another bath, and then you go over and rinse off again. So by the end of it, you're squeaky clean, Japanese style. Back in my room, and the balcony is the perfect spot to appreciate a late afternoon sake, as well as the beautiful courtyard garden. This one's quite special, as it blends seamlessly with the surroundings by borrowing the outlook of the Hozo River and the mountains behind to create one harmonious vista that begins at your back door. After the evening meal, the attendants clear the table, and I mean clear it right out of the way, because the same space is used for your futon. In the morning, an elaborate breakfast is delivered and the dishes are so detailed, I almost didn't want to touch it. But I did, and it was delicious. Among the goodies on the trays was a variety of seafood, including snapper, cod, sole, and a small local fish called jacko. There was miso soup, soy milk, tofu, and sour plum, all very healthy stuff, and a lot of very complex tastes for my early morning palate. This was a fitting finale for what had been the most relaxing overnight stay I've enjoyed anywhere. Arigatou gozaimasu.
ありがとうございます。
Well, what an experience that was. I feel like a brand new man. And if you want to feel special when you're over here, I'd highly recommend a stay at a ryokan. It's Japanese culture at its finest.
Japan has an endless coastline to explore, something you forget when you spend most of your time in a big city like Kyoto. Today, I'm heading about 250 kilometres north along the coast of Honshu to the city of Kanazawa to check out the Mayorutsuji Temple. Whilst it still functions today as a religious centre, it's more famously known as the Ninja Temple. This cleverly designed building has 23 different features, all aimed at confusing an attacking enemy. Now, for example, it looks like it's a two-storey building, but it's actually 4. Then within it, it has 7 different levels and 29 sets of stairs. So you better make sure you stick with a tour guide, or else you might end up like an attacking ninja, lost and confused. Exploring this ancient building is absolutely fascinating, and some of the trickery is ingenious, like the rice paper stairs that allow you to stab through and slice the feet of home invaders with your sword, or the hidden escape passage that's always ready for you behind a couple of removable wall and floor panels. Now, I've got to tell you, make sure you check out the old sneaky double door trick as you're leaving the temple. Now, if you were the enemy and you were rushing through this door here, you'd think that maybe the people who lived here had escaped down through here, but no, they're not there. That just goes outside. So you'd walk back into the house and you'd take a bit of a look around. But right behind you, there's the old sneaky double door trick with a room behind there. Now, the samurai jump out, and before you knew it, I tell you what, they were sneaky back in those days with some of these designs, weren't they? Well, look, coming up after the break, more of fascinating Kanazawa.